Last Alert, aka Red Alert in Japan, no, not that Red Alert, this Red Alert is a top-down run-and-gun shooting game. And I'm a bit split on this one, because in some ways it's really bad, and in some ways it's kind of endearing. You play as the soldier man Guy Kasama, who is working for the CIA, who sends him on missions to take down the evil organization known as the Force Project. And there's a surprising amount of storytelling for this sort of game, where you get some nice cutscenes and various kinds of objectives that you have to complete on the levels. Now the objectives aren't any more advanced than having you run up on a point to activate it. This can either be for placing a bomb or rescuing a hostage or something similar, and then you just make your way to the end of the level to defeat the boss before the time runs out.
President Allman, it's nice to see you're safe.
Thank you. I'm glad to see you made it safely. Now it's time for you to die.
Last Alert also has a leveling system, where you get XP for defeating enemies and completing levels, and as you level up you get extra health pips and access to new weapons. But let's talk a bit about the leveling names, because I'm no military expert, but these sound a little bit off. You start out as Ranger and then get upgraded to stuff like Sniper and Sharpshooter. Then you get to Corporal and Captain, which all sounds normal enough. But some of the higher ranks are called stuff like Full Armor Guy, Mad Thunder, Final Command, which ironically isn't the final at all, before you finally get the ultimate rank of Superhero.
He's just a double.
You mean he's an imposter?
Members of the Force Project would not appear that easily before the public.
Guy, I checked around the ship. They're loading an enormous amount of state-of-the-art weapons on here, like you said.
I've planted explosives on this ship. We'll use that to look for the real Steve.
To the prosperity and glory of the Duel Foundation. Cheers!
But the dumb names aren't super important, the hardware is. You start out with a dingy little pistol that barely does anything, but then you get an Uzi, which is a little bit better, before you upgrade that to an Armalite M16 assault rifle, which is a spread shot in this game. Then you get a second assault rifle with a grenade launcher attached, which is also a spread shot, but with added rockets shooting out. Then you get an M60 machine gun, which is an even spreadier shot, before finally getting a missile launcher. In my opinion, the M60 machine gun is the best weapon, because this is a type of game where you can only have a set amount of bullets on screen at the time. So if you shoot at something that is up close, you shoot your gun faster, whereas the rockets from the rocket launcher just pass through enemies. This also makes most of the boss fights incredibly easy, because while the designers had the idea that they wanted you to pace back and forth and exchange shots with each boss, you can often just run up on them and hold down the fire button to kill them in mere seconds before they can do any real damage to you. Perhaps the designers realized this, as the last and hardest boss fight in the game is on a platform where you can't really get close to do an insta-kill trick. For the most part, the actual challenge in the game isn't really in the boss fights either, but more in the sea of the endless spawning enemies, and a sometimes relatively tight time limit. You'll also pick up items during the levels, which for the most part aren't very effective against the bosses, so you really just want to use them against the run-of-the-mill enemies. The presentation is probably the best part of Last Alert. Not only do you get some nice looking cutscenes, but you also get some hilarious voice acting from the 2 or 3 guys who put their voices to all of the characters in the game.
Well, he's a famous man, controlling all the terrorists around the world. I'd even want to get an autograph from him.
I want you to assassinate him.
That wild horse Robert from the Green Berets failed?
He's been captured and is in the Arcado camp. Colonel Cadotte is in hiding. I hear that the only ones who know of his whereabouts are his guards, Red, Blue, and Black.
I'm the only one remaining of the Force project members. But I have completed the ultimate weapon, Indra. Boy, once it's launched, it will put an end to all mankind. Yeah, they shall be punished. But don't lose heart. I'll give you just one last chance.
Overall, I think Last Alert feels like a game where the developer tried to make the best game that they had the ability to make. And that's not because some of the gameplay designs, like the easy boss fights or the constantly spawning enemies, feel like a conscious decision, but more like a solution they implemented because they didn't quite have the talent to make it any other way. Personally, I do think I'm very drawn to the presentation of the game, and I think it's definitely a key part of the experience. So if you want to play a game that is kinda bad, but still very functional and fun to look at, then check out Last Alert.
Isn't there a way to stop Indra?
Not unless you destroy Indra. But if you do, you will also die.